The other day, while doom scrolling YouTube, I accidentally stumbled upon a channel. They were talking about business topics and investing. I generally like these kinds of videos because of course I don't want to burn out and die working a 9-to-5 job until the end of my life. But most of the time there is a small problem with these channels. They tell you to save money, put some aside, and invest in things that create value. But from what? When all your resources are already tied up. Okay, sure, I know there is always an opportunity to create additional resources, but that is not what I wanted to talk about right now. I wanted to talk about the video itself. There was nothing special about this video. The thumbnail was a basically meaningless print screen with some text on it. I am not even sure if I clicked on it myself, or if the autoplay feature threw the video at me. The video itself was just Call of Duty gameplay footage in the background. Although it might have been a different FPS game, I have not followed this style for a while now after so many games have such ridiculous system requirements that I could literally cry. The content itself, at least what the speaker was saying, was not that new to me. So I looked at the statistics. More than 300,000 views on this video? What the hell? The channel itself was not that old. Barely 1 year old. And there were about 100 videos on it, all in a similar style. And on Social Blade I checked how much the revenue might be. Monthly around $2,000 to $10,000. And this got me thinking. Maybe I am overthinking this whole YouTube thing. Let us experiment and see how much I will like this style. For the video background I chose Gothic 2. Partly because this is one of the games I am currently playing, and partly because these masterpieces have thoughts that keep coming back to me to this day and make me think deeply about things. This is not my first channel. It is actually the 5th or 6th one. But none of my channels reached 50 subscribers. I abandoned every channel after uploading 10 videos, or sometimes even before that. After that I would spend my time looking at successful channels wondering how they did it. So what changed now? Or did anything change at all? I do not know that yet. Only time will answer that question. But over the past year I did not just watch YouTube. I tried to figure out why things work for some people and not for others. And I also joined several YouTube creator groups hoping to find inspiration. Although for me it is not inspiration I need help with. It is persistence. Not that I am lazy, but I lose motivation quickly when the algorithm decides something and basically shows my videos to absolutely no one. What I realized is that my approach was wrong from the beginning. Like most beginner YouTubers, I thought I would make videos and then success would naturally come. I started making videos about what interests me. But you know what the problem is? I work in IT. Everything related to information technology in the digital world interests me. And that is such a broad topic area that it is nearly impossible to build a consistent community around. The other problem is that I thought I could build revenue on this. Or how should I put it? I thought I would be able to forge a real income from it. Of course I looked into different YouTube revenue source opportunities. There is AdSense, there is affiliate marketing, there are community promotions, sponsorships, and so on. But how do you get someone to pay you to watch your hobby? My big problem is that I often overthink things. When someone presents a problem, my head is already at the 20th possible step, and we have not even taken the first step yet. So let us translate this to YouTube for now. I was already building community activities and affiliate programs when I had only uploaded my 5th video. Then I would spend days looking at YouTube video statistics, hoping that maybe a comment would appear, or a new subscriber or a new view would come, which of course never happened. It is a vicious cycle, really. You create something, you check the stats, nothing happens, you get discouraged, you stop creating, or worse, you keep creating, but with increasing anxiety about why nobody is watching. The algorithm becomes this mysterious judge that decides your worth as a creator. How can you get out of this state? For a long time I could not find the answer. And I think right now I only have a hunch, not a complete solution. I have to realize at least I am trying to accept that there are 2 types of channels in this world. The first type, which is what I plan for this channel too, has no expectations and no restrictions. I just create content about what actually interests me. I do not have to deal with statistics, and I do not have to care about what anyone thinks about it because I make it for myself. The second type of channel is what every YouTuber desires. One that brings real revenue. One where the content blows up and replaces the day job. One worth building a business on. But here is the thing that nobody tells you. These 2 types rarely mix. And understanding this changed everything for me. Who said we can only have one channel? Why do we listen to YouTube coaches who claim that every channel can be successful if you just follow their advice? That is simply not true. Only one thing matters, and that is the content. And how can we develop with content if we do not make videos? How can we try out a style if we do not dare to experiment? How can we build a community if we are driven by profit maximization from the very beginning? I think I severely overthought my relationship with the platform. I did not understand what I wanted and why I was doing things. But maybe this new approach will work. Who knows? The point is that now I am able to sit down and actually write something without the crushing weight of expectations. So what is the video quality like? Just some random gameplay in the background. Who cares? That will be another channel job. Here we will meet every time some thought captures my attention. We will talk about it, and if by chance enough resources gather for a better streaming setup, we can continue more personally on stream. But what topics occupy me right now? You might be wondering why you should subscribe. Nowadays, I increasingly do not feel my place in this world. I am not a young kid anymore, but while I was growing up, the world changed so much around me that I barely even recognize it anymore. They call this progress. But is it really? Or are they just trying to make us believe it is? When I was young, I admired the digital world. I did everything to be part of it and help its development. What do you think? Would it not be wonderful to live in a world where the greatest minds could meet directly and work together on a better world for all of us? Where if I need something, I just have to ask and I get the answer. Where if I want to create something, I do not have to spend a fortune to make it real, and even better, I do not harm the environment with it. I think this was the promise of the digital world that it completely failed to deliver. And ironically, they call me the one with attention deficit disorder. But maybe the problem is not my attention span. Maybe the problem is that the digital world became exactly what it should never have become. A place designed to harvest our attention rather than enrich our minds. A place where connection has been replaced by optimization, where genuine human interaction has been replaced by engagement metrics. If you are watching this and you are between 25 and 45 years old, you probably know exactly what I am talking about. You grew up with the early internet. You remember when websites were ugly but functional, when social media was about actually being social, not about performing for an algorithm, when phones were for calling people, not for doom scrolling at 2 in the morning because your brain will not shut up. We are the generation that got left behind, the digital natives who became digital refugees, the people who were promised a revolution but got an addiction instead. And speaking of attention deficit disorder, let us talk about the elephant in the room. Many of us have been diagnosed with ADHD, or we suspect we might have it. We struggle with focus. We struggle with consistency. We struggle with the things that the modern world demands from us. But here is the thing I have been thinking about. What if our attention deficit is actually a rational response to a deficit of things worth paying attention to? What if our struggle to focus is not a bug but a feature, a protection mechanism against a world that is constantly trying to fragment our consciousness for profit? We are told we need to fix our attention spans. We need to optimize our productivity. We need to hack our brains to function in this digital landscape. But nobody asks whether the landscape itself is broken. Nobody asks whether we should be trying to fix ourselves to fit into a system that was designed to exploit our psychology. Which brings me back to overthinking. My curse, and maybe yours too. The tendency to think 20 steps ahead when you have not even taken step 1. The paralysis of analysis. The endless planning without doing. I have done this my entire life. I plan YouTube channels before making a single video. I plan business models before creating a single product. I plan the perfect workout routine before going to the gym once. I plan the perfect learning system before reading a single page, and I know I am not alone. If you are still watching this, you probably do the same thing. We are the overthinkers, the analyzers, the people who see all the possible outcomes and get stuck choosing between them. But here is what I am learning. The only way out is through. The only cure for overthinking is doing. Imperfectly. Messily. But doing. So this channel is my experiment in not overthinking. My background is Gothic 2 gameplay, because I am playing it right now and I enjoy it. Not because it is strategic. Not because it will attract a specific demographic. But because I like it. The topics will be whatever is on my mind. Technology, society, the digital world, the things that keep me up at night. The thoughts that keep coming back to me and will not let me go. If people watch, great. If people subscribe, even better. But if nobody watches, I will still make these videos. Because the process of making them helps me think, helps me process the world I live in, helps me feel slightly less crazy in a world that often feels like it has gone completely mad. Let me be completely honest with you. I have no idea if this will work. I have no idea if I will stick with it. I have abandoned 5 channels before this one. Maybe this will be number 6. Maybe I will upload 5 videos and disappear for another year. But something feels different this time. Something clicked when I realized that I do not need this to work. I do not need this to become my career. I do not need this to validate me as a person. This can just be a thing I do because I enjoy doing it. And maybe that is exactly what it takes to actually stick with something. When the pressure is off, when the expectations are gone, when you are doing it for yourself instead of for an audience that might not even exist. There is a beautiful irony in all of this. The channels that succeed are often the ones where the creator is not trying to succeed. They are just making stuff they care about. They are not optimizing for the algorithm. They are not stressing about metrics. They are creating. Meanwhile, people like me who stress about every detail, who plan every move, who try to optimize everything, never actually create enough to find their voice. Never create enough to get better. Never create enough to accidentally stumble into something great. Quantity leads to quality. Iteration leads to improvement. Showing up and doing the work leads to breakthrough. But you cannot show up and do the work if you are paralyzed by the fear that it might not be perfect. Let us return to the digital world for a moment. Because I think this disappointment I feel is not just about YouTube. It is about everything. I work in technology. I have seen how the sausage is made. I have seen how products are designed not to help people but to capture their attention. I have seen how features are added not because users need them but because they increase engagement time. The early internet promised us a library of human knowledge available to everyone. What we got was an advertising platform that occasionally shows us information. Social media promised to connect us with people around the world. What we got was isolation, anxiety, and carefully curated highlight reels that make everyone feel inadequate. The smartphone promised to give us access to everything anywhere. What we got is a device that demands our attention every waking moment and has destroyed our ability to be bored. The promise of the digital world was liberation. The reality is often just a more sophisticated form of control. So what do we do with this disappointment? How do we find meaning in a world that feels increasingly artificial? I think the answer is to create things that are real, to have conversations that matter, to build communities based on shared values, not shared algorithms. This channel is my small attempt at that, a place to think out loud, a place to explore ideas without worrying about whether they are marketable, a place to be imperfect in public. This channel is for the people who feel like they do not fit in this digital world anymore, the people who remember when the internet felt different, the people who are tired of the constant optimization, the constant performance, the constant pressure to be productive. This is for the overthinkers who have trouble starting but have deep thoughts worth sharing. For the ADHD brains that jump between ideas but see connections others miss. For the people who work in tech and love the possibilities but hate what it has become. This is for anyone who has ever felt like the world changed around them and nobody asked if that was what they wanted. I do not have a perfect content calendar. I do not have a brand strategy. I do not have a monetization plan. What I have is thoughts I want to explore, ideas I want to share, questions I want to ask. Maybe I will talk about technology and how it shapes our thinking. Maybe I will talk about the games I play and what they mean to me. Maybe I will talk about the struggle to create in a world full of critics. Maybe I will just talk about whatever is on my mind that week. The one thing I can promise is honesty. Not the curated authenticity that influencers sell, but real honesty. Admitting when I am wrong, sharing when I am confused, being vulnerable about my failures. Because I think we have enough polished perfection online, we have enough carefully managed personal brands, we have enough people pretending to have it all figured out. What we need is more people being real, more people admitting they do not know, more people exploring ideas out loud instead of presenting finished opinions. So consider this an invitation, not to subscribe, not to like, not to share, although those things help if you want to see more of this. No, this is an invitation to be imperfect, to create without knowing if it will work, to share your thoughts even if they are not fully formed, to exist online without trying to optimize your existence. I am tired of overthinking. I am tired of planning perfect projects that never start. I am tired of letting the fear of how it will be received stop me from creating anything at all. If any of this resonates with you, maybe stick around. We can figure this out together. Not as guru and follower, but as fellow travelers trying to make sense of this strange digital world we find ourselves in. The background is Gothic 2, a game from 2002, a game that does not care about modern gaming trends, a game that is just what it is, a masterpiece that has stayed with me for decades. Maybe there is a lesson there. Maybe the things that last are not the ones optimized for the moment. The things that last are the ones made with care, made with purpose, made without concern for how they will be received. I am going to keep making these videos. Not because I know they will succeed, but because I need to make them. And maybe that is enough. Thank you for watching, for listening to my thoughts, for giving me your attention in a world that demands so much of it. Until next time.
Well, don't beat it.